We are on the east central side of Dogwood Springs Campground, and this is a family partnership of about 540 acres of land. I'm a wannabe beekeeper. I have a couple of failed attempts at keeping bees, but I think beekeeping is fascinating. But you know, beekeepers aren't the only pollinators, but they are an important part of pollination, which is key to not just growing food for humans, but growing food for wildlife. The first time I heard about invasive species was in the Master Gardener course. We had one of the lectures was on invasives, and that's when I first started to become aware of what a problem invasive plants can be to the native species. Then shortly after that, I got involved down in Owen County, starting up a group to make the general public more aware of invasives and the problems with them and the consequences of not getting the invasives under control. Okay. This is what we call the Cedar Pond area. So we have a 1 acre plot to the north of us, which was part of an EQIP project that was started a couple of years ago. This one involved eradicating autumn olive, which is one of the more problematic invasives here in Putnam County, probably in Indiana in general. But this area that we've cleared was estimated to be 80 to 90% autumn olive. So we've got most of that cleared out, and the plan is once we get the weeds under control is to plant a pollinator acre here for the EQIP project. So the areas that you can see that are cleared out were really thick with autumn olive, and the plan is to go ahead and take out these other trees, the cedars, the walnuts, some persimmon trees, and make this all a clear field again. This probably back in the 1980s was a pasture that was used for hay production, but since then it's just been allowed to regrow naturally. And unfortunately, the autumn olive was the predominant species here. Didn't get 100% of it, but here's a big one right here. It's growing around a dead tree, and it's possible that it could have choked out the dead tree. I don't know. The folks that wrote the EQIP grant, I came out and I showed them possibilities where we could do pollinator plantings, and I had no idea that they would pretty much pick everything that we looked at. What was originally planned as a stormwater runoff retention pond, which was rejected, and we have just filled out the paperwork for EQIP grants, and this is what they assigned to us. I would call this a success, at least in this corner. It looks pretty good. So this is one out of 6 plots, but the plantings in these, except for the one we just came from, all the others, the plantings are the same as far as the combination of wildflowers in the program, the mowing schedules and weed control. One thing that I did notice is you mow to control certain weeds, but it creates an environment that promotes the growth of others. And I think the bird's foot trefoil, which is the little yellow flowers, is a classic example of that. It just came on incredibly thick after we mowed the first time. Another thing that we didn't plan on that is not so much in this field, but the one on the other side of the drive here is we have a lot of cottonwood seedlings coming up. So mowing created a different environment for the cottonwood trees. It's kind of hard to tell. I do see more birds around. I was looking at some butterfly milkweed yesterday and surprised how many honeybees were on them. I think it adds something to the campground. Sometimes I think that the campers think I planted the pollinator wildflowers for them to come pick, which is okay.